It's not the most cheerful of episodes, is it?
No, but it is still bloody brilliant.
This is very true. We're reviewing The Girl in the Fireplace, written by Stephen Moffat, directed by Euros Lynn, and broadcast on the 6th of May 2006.
Oh, Christ, it's nearly 20 years old.
I try not to think about that, to be honest. I try not to think about that at all.
I was 8 when this came out.
I was 6. I'm 23.
Oh, Christ.
And I really like this episode, but I do feel like I need a good lie down, and it's a good job that we're talking, or at least we have talked, time travel and all that, about uplifting episodes, because God, do I need one after that. I haven't seen this in a while. And I think last time I watched it, it would have been through our rewatch just before the 60th with my housemates, but I remember when this was on, I think I was busy editing another video, so I was only sort of like half watching it. So this is the first time I've actually sat down properly and watched this in years. God, it's good.
Yeah, it is.
It's so
brilliant.
good.
It just keeps you hooked the entire time. Like, there's no... Like, with some of the episodes, especially in the middle of Tennant's second series with Rose, there are, like, Idiot's Lantern, Fear Her. They're just episodes that just aren't great and you could easily just skip. And
Yes.
you have points. And, like, there's parts of the episode which are good, but the majority of it is lackluster.
This one just bombs along.
Yeah, this one bombs along. The pacing's brilliant, I think.
I think it's got one of the strongest pre-credit sequences, I think, ever. It's definitely up there. You know, I think it establishes the period setting really, really well. I like the mystery of why is this woman just shouting at a fire? Who does she know? Why does she know the Doctor and everything? And we go straight into it then with the Doctor, Rose and Mickey landing on a ship in the far future. But it's not quite normal, because it smells like a roast dinner, which is the most sinister smelling roast dinner you'll ever find as we go on through the episode, because there are droids on the ship that are repair droids, and they have been basically harvesting the organs of the crew to keep the ship running, which I think is a proper Stephen Moffat idea, that, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite horrific, really, when you think about it. I don't think I never really processed it, but when we sat down and watching it, reviewing it and stuff, I was like, oh, that's awful. Yeah, that's really, really bad.
You almost forget how dark parts of the episode can be, because you get so caught up in everything going on between Renette and the Doctor. You get that B plot with Mickey and Rose just running around the ship looking stuff. You get caught up in that as well.
Yeah, I feel
it's easy to gloss over the grim.
I think it works better because you can't have Rose right by the Doctor throughout this, because this is actually quite an important step in their relationship, because it's showing how jealous Rose can get. You know, and it's quite clear this is the moment you realise, oh yeah, she's not just sort of like in awe of him, she really does love him, and she's seeing him wandering about this woman. Obviously she's got Mickey there, so they sort of get separated and don't really have a lot of scenes together, but that definitely works in its favour, because sometimes it can feel like when they can, like, you know, it happens quite a lot in Classic Who, where companions can just go off and run around with a side cast and they don't really contribute anything to the main story. Whereas this, it feels like an organic way of doing it. And it's still, because they're the ones that find, like, the human organs in the ship, like the camera with the eye and the blood that's pumping, like, fluid around the machinery and the walls and stuff. But I love that idea of having a really futuristic spaceship in, like, the 51st century. It's slap bang juxtaposed with pre-revolutionary France.
Yeah.
And they're there coexisting at the same time in a ship that's been able to sort of punch through into the past. And I just think... Yeah, we have the Doctor who goes through this mysterious spinning fireplace and lands in the bedroom of a young Madame de Pompadour. And it's another one of these historicals that I quite like, because it shines a light on, like, lesser known historical figures, which is something that I think the Chibnall era did actually quite well.
Yeah.
You know, looking at people like Mary Seacole or Ada Lovelace, you know, people like that, I think it shines a light on some more, and, you know, historical women as well, rather than it just being sort of like, you know, kings and things like that. I think that really works. And I love that first scene where he's talking to her as a kid, and the creepiness of having that broken clock with the ticking, because it's very reminiscent of a sort of, not a gag, but it's a convention that Moffat uses quite a bit in Empty Child. You know, when the tape runs out, why are we still hearing him and stuff, and why is the typewriter still going if no one's using it? Yeah. It's the same trope, essentially. Yeah. But it works. I think it works best here, to be honest.
It works really well. And like that scene where Renette's been like realised there's a monster under her bed as well, and the Doctor's like, oh, it's just a nightmare. Even monsters have nightmares. And she's like, what monster's scared of? And he's like, me. Does his little ha, then takes the clockwork thing back through the revolving fireplace.
Yeah, and I love that. And that's something that's been repeated again in the future as well in Moffat's showrunning era, where the 11th Doctor says something similar to the kid in the Silurian two-part from Series 5. You know, he's like, what monster's scared of? And he's like, me. It's very cool. It's very much that sort of ego of the Doctor that we see quite a bit, especially sort of in this period of Doctor Who. But this makes me think, because I have my issues with some of the Moffat era, especially the latter half. That was what I meant to say. But this one, it reminds me of just how good a writer he really is. And I would love him I really hope he comes back and does like one or two every now and then, you know. I don't necessarily want to be showrunner again, but
No.
by all means have him come back and do a couple every year or so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy for him to come back. The stuff he did during Russell's first run was incredible. As you said, like Empty Child and the Doctor Dancers, great two-parter.
Yeah.
Really strong. This, again, really strong. He's got good... Cause didn't he do Silence in the Library? Yeah.
Yeah,
so like
and Blink as well, obviously,
Yeah.
which, you know, everybody holds in very high regards.
Yeah, like they're very, very good episodes.
They are really strong. I think he gets characters really well in this. I think that was one of the issues I had with it. Some of the characters felt like they were sort of stock characters later on. Like he has a bit of an issue when it comes to writing some female characters in his era. Not all of them, but some of them definitely feel sort of quite, you know, you could chop dialogue from some of them and give them straight to the others and it wouldn't even be noticeable. But here, I think Renette's such a well-written character. I mean, Sophia Myles is a bit weird, but I think she is a bit of a, as a performance, I think is really, really, really strong in this.
Oh, she's a great
I
actress.
think she brings the character of Renette to life so vividly. You know, and we see her through different ages, and all right, she might not necessarily look, she might, you know, she looks the same age as she's 23, or when she's like 37 and whatever, but, you know, she brings this little nuances that you can tell she's getting older, she's experienced more, she's got those little nuances that just really
She's a bit more
work.
wise, like, you know. Equally, she's mistress to the King of France, and that's got to come with a bit of money to keep her looking young.
Yes, but this is also pretty, she didn't like Botox, was she?
Oh, no.
A bit before that.
Yeah, just a bit.
What a strange thing to think about now through the lens of today. And I love the reference to Camilla. Like that's aged quite well.
Yeah.
Really, because essentially the same thing happens, but like just the idea of being so, you know, status and everything wasn't about, you know, it was about how many partners you have and things like that, and you know how she has an official mistress and things like that. You know, usually what one wife not good enough for you? Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see the comparison of the times.
Yeah. It grounds it a bit more in reality, I think. Just to bring the situation home a bit.
I mean, other than Camilla, it's sort of unheard of nowadays.
Yeah,
having a mistress.
I'm not a royal historian or anything. I think they should all be abolished, but that's just me.
Yeah. But what's interesting as well is 5 seconds on the spaceship could end up being 5 years in Renette's life as well. So the passing of time is completely different, which is great.
Yeah, and it means that, and but it also works as a bit of a gap the other way. It's not like if the Doctor spends 2 minutes in Paris, it might be half an hour on the spaceship and stuff. There's not as big a gap, but there's still, you know, at the end, Rose says they've waited like 5.5 hours or something. Yeah. And it really does, I just love it. It's such a cool sci-fi concept of having a spaceship that's also stuck as gateways into the like history of Earth. And it's not like ancient history. It's only a sort of 200 or 300 years. Was it 200-300? I can't do that.
It's 18th century.
Yeah, so not too far ago, but still far enough that it's not, you know, today.
Yeah.
It's a I like it. I think it's great. I think it's quite weird because I can't remember the last time we reviewed something that isn't like, you know, a special or, you know, the premiere of something. This is, you know, just an episode in a series, and I just forget how strong they can be because not every, you know, brilliant episode has to be a special or a finale or whatever.
No, it can't just be brilliant.
Not all finales and everything have to be the best thing Doctor Who's ever done. You can just have a really just a run of the mill in terms of, you know, the broadcast, and it just be really, really stellar.
Yeah, you get the bit of humour as well throughout the entire episode as well. After the Doctor first kisses Renette, he's then going like, "Oh my God, I've just snogged Madame de Pompadour" to the French person.
Yeah,
I don't know what he is.
I think he's just like a sort of servant. I
think. The horse.
Oh, the horse. I think
you get the horse.
You can't call it that.
The horse Arthur as well being found on the spaceship, and it just becomes a whole thing, and I love it.
He's sort of very reluctant to have the horse following him around, and then by the end of it, he's like, "Yeah, take Mickey and Arthur." He's giving it a name, and you know, Rose,
Good name for a horse.
he has a line to Rose. He's like, "I let you keep Mickey." But yeah, I think I do find it a bit unnerving where he's just met this woman as a child and then immediately is necking off with her.
Yeah, it's a bit
He
strange.
didn't instigate it, to
no,
be
no,
fair,
she
but
fully instigated it. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's a bit strange.
I think because I always remember looking back in this thinking how strange is it that they've got this whole the series arc is the Doctor and Rose's relationship and the romance between them and stuff, but they also have this episode where he is romantically involved with someone else. But I think Mickey puts it perfectly where he's talking about Sarah Jane and Cleopatra, which is obviously something we haven't seen on the screen, but it's that it solidifies in Rose's head that she isn't the only person that the Doctor knows and that the Doctor has been seeing or whatever. Not that I think that Sarah Jane or whatever was a relationship, but you know what I mean. It's that it's that reminder for her that she's not just the only person in the universe. Where I think it's the other way around for her. She sees the Doctor, and that's her world, that's her universe, and everything. And yeah, eventually they get separated, and I love the scene where the Doctor's pretending to be steaming. When he comes in with the tie on his head and he's singing,
looking
and all
like
that.
Ringo Starr, like
with the glasses, and he's calling all the droids thick, and I love the droids as well.
Yeah.
They are just clockwork and very steampunky, but they're all dressed up in that sort of Regency France garb.
Yeah, and
That's something I think that the historicals of Doctor Who do really well, is that they
costumes.
always look outstanding. And we're going to get onto that in a couple of weeks. We're going to do a bit of a talk about historicals and Doctor Who and stuff. But I think that's always been one of the strong points, is how well they look. They always look significantly. Like sometimes when Classic Who especially, because the BBC was so good at period dramas and stuff, but 50th century things were a bit more like, let's just stick some tinfoil on a wall and stuff and hope for the best. I think
and
you
just
can't
put
knock
little
the design.
epaulets on the shoulder and stuff.
Yeah, you can't really knock the design of any of the historicals, to be honest.
No, because they know that when they're doing a historical, they kind of got to keep it as close to the time as they physically can.
And there's a reference for it as well.
Yeah,
we don't know
what
what
you're
things are going
working
to
with.
look like in 2043 or something like that. I don't know
you
why
know
something that's only 20 years away.
Shut up. you know there'll be flying cars by then. Yeah, it always looks incredible, to be honest. But getting back to this, sorry, my notes have shut off because my phone is crap.
I think some of the dialogue in this as well is fantastic. There's a scene where Renette's talking to Rose about everything that's going on, and she's sort of questioning why she's got all this faith in the Doctor. She says something like, "Oh, one may tolerate demons for the sake of an angel," and stuff. And it's just that's lovely dialogue. Like
it is really nice. So yeah, as I believe we've discussed, the crew became the mechanics for the ship as well because of the clockwork.
Cool idea.
Yeah, because of the clockwork robots needing to fix the ship in any way they can. Unfortunately for the crew, they were on the menu. Literally, yeah.
I thought somebody was barbecuing.
Which gets brought up that they worked it out when I believe they were looking at the King of France, and then they busted in to save Renette from the clockwork thing.
Yeah. And they sort of put the pieces together and go, where have all the crew gone? Why are there bits of organs in the... Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
The crew are in the walls.
Yeah. And it's nice that it's kind of a slow burn for them, if you pardon the pun.
Yeah, no, I think there's some fantastic concepts like that. The horror sci-fi stuff blends really well in this. I think it really, really, really works.
Yeah. And then you get that scene as well where Renette takes a peek into the Doctor's world as well. Because obviously, as you get when she's messing around in the Doctor's mind, and the Doctor's like, "Oh, go close. You might want to close that door," and you just clearly know she's letting him take a peek.
Yeah, she's showing him some like nudes.
Yeah,
psychic nudes.
Yeah, psychic nude snaps.
Psychic premium Snapchats.
She takes a look into the Doctor's world, and then is just like, "Yeah, okay, I'm going to take the slow path now."
Yeah, but I like how there's something about Renette where she's, the Doctor's looking into her mind and everything, trying to piece together, but equally, without her doing anything, she's like sort of making it come full circle in a way where she's looking into him, and she knows, we have, that can be a bit of a limitation sometimes with historical characters. They might not be able to grasp, what's going on, but she knows everything.
Yeah.
She gets who the Doctor is. She gets that he's this lonely sort of god and everything, which is not something I'm particularly fond of as a trope throughout the show, but I think here it's executed perfectly, because to her, that's exactly what he is.
Yeah.
He's this sort of timeless being.
And he's shocked that she could do this as well. Oh. She's shocked that he's shocked, that she could do that as well.
Yeah.
Which is like no one, so obviously no one's really done that before to him. So it's
And I
kind
think
of
that sort of solidifies the connection between them in a way.
they really work. As I was saying towards the end of the episode, I really wish that they actually had. Like they could have killed Rose off earlier in the series and then had the rest of the series be the Doctor and Renette. I'd have quite liked that. Cause
I think a
little loophole to
historical
stop it dying.
character yeah, I think a historical companion would really work. You know, it's not something the new series has really done.
No.
And I think a historical celebrity companion would work because the audios did a great trilogy where the Eighth Doctor travels with Mary Shelley, you know, writer of Frankenstein, of basically the inventor of science fiction as a genre, and that really works quite well, you know.
Yeah.
And it's an alternative lens to the usual sort of here's your quirky man or woman from modern day Britain, you know. I mean, at the time it was girl from present day London, but you know we've had a bit of variation now. We've had some northern companions as well, but I think you know having a companion from the past really does work in the way that having companions like Jack or Nardole and stuff who are from the future and you know from not from the present adds that sort of lens to things.
Yeah, and I mean it worked with Jamie as well. Back with the Second Doctor.
And I think because they tried to do it with Katarina, but I think she was too far in the past, you know, ancient Troy and everything, that it just wouldn't work. And we've got Jamie, who's a little bit closer to the now, and, you know, Victoria as well. And at one point you've got two historical companions from the history of Earth travelling in the TARDIS. I think it does work. And I think, you know, part of the fun would be watching them come to terms with all of the shenanigans that go on as travelling with the TARDIS. I think it's something that they should definitely look at doing for the future.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It would be brilliant. Eventually, though, they do find that the Clockwork Men are trying to find Renette when she's at
37.
When she's 37, because then she's deemed compatible to be put into the last part of the ship that needs fixing before they can move.
Yeah, because the ship is 37 years old as well, so they think, well, we'll just wait until she's 37, and that should probably work.
Yeah, it's logical.
There's that machine logic to it, I think, where they go, right, well, we need a 37-year-old part that needs to be compatible with this, and we'll, bam, snap it together.
And the thing is, like, it's not like they're a malicious monster. It's like they're doing what they've been programmed to do.
Yeah, they're not doing it because they enjoy, you know, cutting up people and sticking them in the walls.
It's because they've been programmed to fix the shit with whatever they need, whatever they can, which I think's a nice change.
Yeah, and
to the usual monster.
And in a way, it makes it more horrific because it's like you genuinely, you know, when you've got someone with motivations who's evil and stuff, it's very sort of monster of the week. Whereas this, it's stupidity essentially. It's whoever's created these robots hasn't thought maybe we should program them to not chop us into little bits and put us into the walls if anything should go wrong.
It's that old adage of, I was just following orders. It's not my fault.
Yeah, that's basically what it is, but down to like a machine level. You know, it's not even a sort of subservient human. It's genuinely they don't recognise what they're doing is bad. Because they've been programmed to do this, so that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. So Rose warns her of the attack coming, but for Renette, she's got to wait for 5 years. And then the Doctor rides in on Arthur.
Yeah, I think it's one of the more iconic scenes, really, isn't it, of the 10th Doctor, especially that second series. You know, everyone was talking about that. Did you see that bit where Doctor Who crashed through the mirror on the horse and everything? Which it doesn't look as effective as it did 20 years ago, but it's not going to. It's, you know, it's good fun.
Even that long shot scene in the TARDIS at the end, like, you can tell that it's...
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? There was one shot in the TARDIS at the end where it looks like it had just been filmed off someone's phone.
Yeah.
And we watched this on the new Series 1 to 4 set, which is remastered as well as you can remaster anything from that era that isn't shot on film. You know, you can only remaster video stuff up to a certain degree. And although they have very much improved the sound, though, which is something that was missing off the last Blu-ray sets of New Who, and even on iPlayer can be a bit hit or miss, I think that the sound was much, much clearer.
Yeah.
You know, you could, but speaking of the sound, Murray Gold's soundtrack in this, I think, is some of his best work in this.
Yeah.
That theme that runs throughout the whole thing, the very slow, magical fairy tale-esque sound is just, But yeah, I feel like we've got off on a tangent here. What are we on about? The horse and Arthur are crashing through the mirror and everything. It's so fun. It's proper, you know, it's that egotistical side of the 10th Doctor that hasn't quite strayed to the point where it's just getting annoying. He's sort of going, yeah, look at me.
Look at me, I can do this on a horse now.
Yeah, broke through a time barrier on a horse, crashed through a mirror, and is then sort of like roasting the King of France.
Yeah, he's just a little bit jealous. Cheap little pop at the King of France.
Yeah.
This...
But by that point...
It was expected.
By that point, though, the Doctor's crashed through to save Renette and, you know, by doing so severs the link to the ship, and I mean the droid's all shut down, but the Doctor's marooned there, and I couldn't help but feel that this was really out of character, because we've had that, especially we go on to see as well with the 10th Doctor as well, and it's part of losing Rose, I guess, but the idea of him all of a sudden just going, yeah, well, I'm going to crash her. I don't care if I'm going to break that time. I'll just leave Mickey and Rose stranded and leave the TARDIS behind and just live a life of, one day after another in pre-revolutionary France and everything. I just was like, I don't know if I completely buy that. I get that there's definitely some sort of connection between him and Renette and all that, but is it enough for him to smash through and stay in?
Well, equally, it could be a bit strong enough connection that, yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but I just don't know. I don't buy it, because we've seen, it's this Doctor hasn't stopped the whole time that they've been going.
Yeah.
We see that as recently as the Giggle. The whole point of this bi-regeneration is to allow the Doctor to just stop and process things, because he's never ever done that. But in this, he's quite happy to go, yeah, well, I'll just stay here then. I know we've only just met. Well, I know I've been in your life pretty much since you were a child, but I've only known you a couple of hours. But hey, solid. I just found that was a bit hard to buy into on my end.
Yeah, I mean, it made a good scene though.
It made a great scene, and I think it really adds to the ending of that hope of, oh, maybe Renette will go with Rose and Mickey in the TARDIS and everything, and like you said, that all had been solved if you'd just told her to pack a bag and then go through.
Yeah, that is my only bugbear with the episode. Is he clearly wanted her to come with him? She clearly wanted to go with him as well. Said, all you need to do, turn Rose into a Cyberman in the next story. Job's a good one, right? The Doctor and Renette can go on and, so you don't even have to kill Renette off. You can just plonk her back in her timeline and, a few days later, and let her live out her days then. It can be a nice ending for her.
Yeah.
I just think it would have been a nice change of pace and probably gotten away from that cocky, egotistical side we get after the Rise of the Cybermen Age of Steel arc.
I get that, but I think the ending of this and the whole point that he loses Renette is just another reminder of how, how he doesn't always win.
Yeah.
He doesn't quite always manage to figure out a way to save everyone. And in this, he only goes off to sort of start the TARDIS up and get her to pack a bag and everything. By the time he comes back, it's been a few more years and she's died, because she only died at the age of 42 or 43. I can't quite remember what they said. But, she dies very young, and he misses his chance to basically travel with her or even to say goodbye. You know? And there's that he barely says a word after he dies. He sort of goes back in and says, oh, I guess we'll never know what they tried to go after and everything, and reads the letter of her saying, she'll always think of him and expect him to come back at any point, and obviously he can't now because she's died and it would be crossing time and all that. I just think it's really
established part of events, and he can't go back.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
it's one of the most gut punch endings to any episode. I think I can't think of many other episodes, but especially those that don't revolve around regenerations or companion departures, that leave you feeling so.
It's even the way they done Mickey with this scene as well in the TARDIS where he's reading the letter. He can see that the Doctor's struggling to come to terms with this one. And he's just like, let's just leave him be. Come on, just show me around the rest of the TARDIS, Rose, and leave him be.
Yeah, I think it's probably good for Rose to sort of have a bit of a break from it as well, in a way.
Yeah, and then I think it's a really powerful scene at the end when he's read the letter and he's on his own.
Oh, the reveal of the ship is such a good twist.
Oh, I know.
The whole episode, you've been wondering, why have they gone after her specifically? She's not, she's, all right, a very influential character, person at the time, but nothing to, warrant being able to fly a massive spaceship and everything. And then they realise it's quite simply that the ship is just named after her.
Yeah.
So they think we need the control of Renette, so we go and get her brain.
Yeah.
It's such a good reveal.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's not done in a sort of way that's look at this, isn't this so clever? It's just a simple shot, the TARDIS taking off, and you see her portrait, and then a shot of the outside of the ship with that beautiful score. It just says the SS Madame de Pompadour.
Yeah.
God, beautiful stuff.
Yeah, no, this whole episode is just incredible from start to finish.
I can't, like I said, apart from when I sort of half watched it while editing before, it's been a good fair few years since I would have last watched this. And not for any particular reason, it's just I never thought to go back and look at it. But after this, it's definitely going to be one that I'm going back to a lot more.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this. It was really, really good.
Yeah. There is no little, apart from that one little nitpick that could have saved Renette's life for a bit longer.
Yeah, and the fact that I feel it's very out of character for the Doctor to suddenly be like, right, well, I'll just stay here.
It's just like tiny little nitpicks that don't actually impact the story.
Yeah, I just think...
Although mine kind of would, big time.
Well, yours would, but I think if you do that, you lose what makes this episode work really well, is that like, you know, it works because it's so sad and because the Doctor hasn't really won the day here. Yes, he stopped the droids and everything, and yes, she didn't have a brain cut out and plonked into a spaceship, but she still died young. She still never got to see the stars. He never got to travel with her and everything. It's a bittersweet ending, for sure. It's a definition of a bittersweet ending.
Yeah. It is impactful as hell.
Yeah, this episode's got everything. It's got action, it's got, you know, laughs, it's got proper gut-wrenching stuff as well. So overall, I'd call this one a success.
Yes, big time.
Well, we hope you enjoyed it as well.
Yes, and if you haven't rewatched it, go and do it. Or if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It is worth the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, it is one of the best episodes of the New Who for me.
Mm-hmm.
And will always be a standout, and one I go back to regularly, to be honest.
Yeah, well, yeah, 100%. And if you want to let us know what you think as well, let us know in the comments, and give this video a like, share it around.
Yes.
And if you felt like it was a bit depressing, don't worry, because next week we're doing something fun. We're going to give you 6 stories. We've each picked 3 Doctor Who episodes stories that will just help lift the January blues a bit, you know. Keep out the horrible weather and the dark and the cold and the fact that January is just all around a bit crap.
Oh, yeah.
Apart from birthday.
Yeah, I was born in it. Let's not riddle it completely.
Yeah, that's bad, isn't it? You know.
There's only one good day in January.
The 31st.
Yes.
No, I'm joking. 25th.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, it's because my payday's on the 25th.
Yeah.
Okay. Joking, it's nearly Tom's birthday, so we'll also have a birthday. When it gets to, it's not your birthday yet. So.
No, God, no.
And we'll be back for that next week, and then afterwards will be a randomly selected Classic Who story to review. We haven't done any Classic Who reviews for a while now. I think the last one we did was like Vengeance on Varos, I think, back in the summer.
Yeah, that'll be a bell.
And I haven't actually watched any Classic Who in a fair while, to be fair, because I've been so busy.
In fairness with that, we haven't had a chance to sit down and do a review of it.
Yeah,
because we've been so caught up with other things.
We've had the 60th, we've had the Christmas special, Christmas itself and everything, and
it's just been a lot to cover.
Real life bits and pieces. So
it's been good though.
Oh yeah.
I've enjoyed it.
But we hope you've enjoyed it too.
Yes.
And we will see you next week, and hopefully some more weeks. If you haven't considered subscribing and you enjoyed this,
please hit that button now.
It'll help buy Tom's birthday present.
And if you want to get notified of when we upload a video, then hit that bell button right next to the subscribe.
Slap the bell end.
I was trying to avoid saying that, but yeah, slap the bell end, and it will ping up whenever we post. That's a sentence I wasn't sure I was... Yeah.
I just thought we needed something to laugh at after that episode, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll take that. Have a nice day, guys.